oddly enough, had put it out there. So anyways, I will put up an edited version where I can get all of this stuff back up. But however, I did find out that it cut off the end of my video, which was showing the Owl Nebula, and that's no good. So we're going to go back here real quick and cover the Owl Nebula and close out the video properly so I can have a good closeout. So anyways, that said, this is M97, I believe. Quote me on that. Let me double check my notes here, because I had closed out thinking I was done. So yeah, M97, Messier 97, Owl Nebula. As I said, it is 1,700 light years away, so this is our final planetary nebula of the night. It is obviously very faint, and it's a very faint nebula. And there is a great, there's actually a fairly cool bit of detail. Of course, where it gets its name from is these two darker patches that you can see here. There's a lot of noise in this, not a lot I can do about that. I was hoping the stacking would take care of that, but it's a fairly warm night, so I think it's a little warm for my camera on some of these longer exposures. So what we have here is these darker patches that kind of looks like the kind of the eye patches of an owl, and then the central structure that could kind of be that nasal beak area between the eyes, and then of course kind of that framing darker color around that you might see around an owl's face. So of course that's where it gets its name. One of the great things I think that's really neat here, this is an old, I think is a fairly older nebula. Don't quote me on that either, but just judging by some of the shape of it, morphology of it, it's fainter, even though it's very close. It's fairly faint. When you see it, there's not a lot of solid structure in there. Everything seems to be very smooth and dispersed. So I think you've seen a lot of, that heavy-duty shell material kind of spreading out, thinning out, dispersing into space and cooling. But one of the good things about that is it's not as bright, and it allows us to see a perfect view of its neutron star. That right there, that blue dot, is the neutron star at the center of this planetary nebula. So I think that's really awesome. But it is still a very, very nice, very nice object to see, and especially if you can see it in its, really good in its colors. So I encourage you, all of these objects we've looked at tonight, please go look them up on Hubble. Do a little research on them, read about them. There's so much interesting information about these things. They're just, to me, I think one of the coolest objects, because you are looking at the aftermath of this star dying. This, hundreds of millions to billions of year old object has died, and you're seeing the results of that. I think that's very cool. So with that, I will go ahead and say thank you for checking us out tonight. One day I'll get these technical glitches straightened out and we will have some smooth sailing. But until then, please hit the subscribe button